This video essay is for ages of 16 plus due to strong language and photos that are unsuitable for anyone younger than the suggested age. Thank you for joining me today for this video. Today I will be talking about true crime and some of the cases that are still unsolved to this day. We'll also be looking at the different perspectives and suspects that were involved in the cases that I'll be mentioning. The first one we are going to be looking at today is a well-known case, the Madeleine McCann case. If you haven't heard of this case before, it is about a young girl, she was 3 at the time, who went missing on the 3rd of May 2007. She went missing at the Praia de Luz Hotel when her parents left their front door unlocked while they were out, with Madeleine and her siblings inside, but only she was taken. Although the person convicted of the crime was 45-year-old Christian Bruckner, a well-known paedophile from Germany, Christian Bruckner was known to police for his charges of sexual assault to children. During the investigation, there was a camera found in the ground of a shed that had photos of children, which in the end claimed to be his. So he was the one convicted of the case because of the mass of the children that he had done inappropriate acts to. There are some things that were found in the investigation that could show otherwise. There are some things that were found in the investigation that could show that it was not him. For example, why was Madeleine McCann's blood found inside the back of her parents' car? Why did her parents refuse a lie detector test? Why did they leave the door unlocked while Madeleine and her siblings were inside? These questions were asked, but a clear answer was never given by their parents. There are some people who believe it was Madeleine's parents that had taken her and killed her, hiding her body, as there is evidence that points to this conclusion. It was discovered that 2 DNA samples were found in the back of the McCann's car. One of them was 100% matched to Madeleine, but instead of it being from her clothes, it was directly from her body, which means her body was at some point in their car that day. I feel like it could have been them, as they are saying they are innocent, and I just want her to come home could show that they could simply be acting, as they keep saying the previous quote to people that interview them. Also, in an interview, the father answered some of the questions, but the mother didn't answer any of the questions during the whole interview. I will leave you with some questions to think about. What do you think happened? What are your thoughts? Who do you think did it and why? Next up, we have the Zodiac Killer. Nobody knows who they are to this day, and there are many suspects, but only a couple of them could match the Zodiac Killer. He is self-named and claimed to have killed 37 people. It occurred between 1969 and 1974, when each time he had murdered someone, he would send a letter to the police and tease them for not being able to find him and stop him. The first killing occurred on June 4th, 1964. It was in Santa Barbara, and it was 2 students that fell victim to the Zodiac Killer. The names of the first victims were Robert Domingos and Linda Edwards. The second murdering was at Riverside and took place on October 30th, 1966. The Zodiac Killer took the life of 18-year-old Sherry Josephine Bates while she was going to the library in a car, of which was found parked outside the library. Her body was found between 2 houses nearby. Her throat was slit and she had multiple stab wounds. The next murder that took place was of high school students Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday in Benicia, December 20th, 1968. They were on their first official date together, and while they were out, people saw them in a car before they were killed, shot by a gun. David was shot in the head, still breathing when the two were found, but died soon after, while Betty was shot with 5 bullets in her back. She didn't live. There were also bullets shot on the car, showing they most likely were warning shots to make the two come out of the car before they were killed. There are many more murders that the Zodiac Killer committed, but I don't have time to talk about all of them today. Nobody knows the true motives of this killer, and this case has been ongoing since. Why did the person who killed these people do it? How did the police never find him? What was their motive? Our final case today is one of the most well-known cases of all time. The first murder by this killer was a woman named Mary Ann Nichols and was murdered in 1888 on the 31st of August. The last murder that was known to be by this man was Mary Jeanette Kelly on the 9th of November 1888. There was a pattern in these murders he was doing, which was that most of the women, all apart from one, were prostitutes. Also, when they were murdered, they were horrifically mutilated, their insides all spread out over their bodies, some parts simply missing from their body. They would also have multiple stab wounds over their body and an excessive amount of injuries. Investigators have been trying to find out who this Jack the Ripper is and his motive to this day, and it still has not been uncovered. There were loads of people suspected of being this man over the years using the evidence that was given to them, but nobody knows 100% who the killer was. A possible motive he could have is sexual sadism, or it could be rage, if not both. What could have encouraged the man behind Jack the Ripper to begin these murders? What was his true motive? He sent letters to police, taunting them for not catching him and stopping him. So why did he have to create a separate name for himself when it could have been just as difficult to catch him in the act of these